Hi there. This is the Instagram Live for the Bosnian cohorts. At the moment, I'm just trying to join Francesca. Hi.
Hi. How are
Can every
you?
Good. How are you? So, can everyone hear us okay? I hope so.
I can hear you.
Okay, super.
Okay.
I guess we could start off with a little introduction. My name is Clara, and I am currently on the Yes Abroad program staying in Banja Luka, Bosnia and Herzegovina. And I'm 17. I'm originally from Washington State, and I am spending my academic gap year, and I go to Catholic school, so a Catholic school here taught entirely in Croatian in the city of Banja Luka.
Okay, and so for me, I am from Massachusetts originally, and I am 17, so I am in my senior year of high school, and I'm living in Sarajevo right now. And so I am going to Druga Gymnasia, which is an IB school, meaning it's all taught in English, which is pretty great. And so I had applied to this program earlier last year, and I did it virtually for the year. But now I'm finally here, which is exciting.
Yeah, cool. We can start off with some questions if you guys have any questions. Otherwise, we can kind of just go through our application process probably and like what kind of brought us to do this do this program. So, Francesca, you want to go for it unless there's any questions?
Sure, yeah. So I was actually initially decided to apply because of a Yes Abroad alum who went to Jordan. And so I did this Arabic program that she helped out with, and that was very exciting to just be able to get that experience from someone. And it's kind of a cool thing to first hear about, like a high schooler going and spending a year in some crazy country, that's a really exciting thing. And then I decided to apply, and I was lucky enough to get in and was lucky enough to get Bosnia. But I think the application process hasn't changed at all over these years, right? So it's just USA questions and information. It's nothing too bad, right? It's all very
Yeah,
manageable.
the only thing that's changed now is instead of it being just the Yes Abroad program that you're applying for, it's now a three-in-one program. So when you apply for the program, you also apply for Flex Abroad and Nisly, I believe. So, which is great opportunity, like apply to as
Yeah,
many as you can because you don't know which one you're going to get into.
right. It's
Um,
good. It's convenient.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then Francesca's situation was a little unique, right? Because you applied like 2 years ago, and then COVID
Right. Yeah.
happened. So you did a Bosnia online year, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Which was actually pretty well done. It was great to be able to learn the language and hear all about the culture before even being here. So that
Mhm.
was a good opportunity.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oops. So I guess for me, I am doing like for the application wise, there might be some questions on like if you could do it when you're 18 or like how it works school wise. So, oh, Elena, you said it's hard to hear me? Okay. Sorry. Can you hear me better now? Maybe? Francesca, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Yeah.
Okay. So, anyway, so I applied for the program and I was applied during my junior year of high school, so I was going to be coming here if I got in for my senior year. So that meant that when you do come here, you can get credit while here, but I was unsure whether that was going to transfer because it does really depend on your school. So I was able to graduate early, and now I'm spending a year early kind of gap year over here, which I think was really beneficial. I mean, I'm learning the language really fast. But what did you end up doing, Francesca?
For my last year of high school, I have a couple credits that I still need to get. So it's like an English credit and something else, something pretty small. So it's kind of funny that I'm getting my English credit here, being in a country that doesn't speak English as the first language. But it's very flexible to be able to do. And then I'm going to college next year. So it all is going to work out in the end.
Super, yeah. So, if anybody ever has any questions, we'll be totally willing to answer it. But one of the things I thought we could maybe go over was what interested us in international exchange and then specifically the Yes Abroad program. So you can go ahead.
Oh, I can go like, I guess just like the whole idea of meeting new people and like being outside of the culture that I'm so used to in America. Like I grew up in a really small town, I think. So being able to see totally different things and meet people that are absolutely nothing like what I've ever met is just really cool. And that's what excited me. What about you?
Yeah, so I think the exact moment that I realized that I wanted to be an exchange student was I was in English class actually, and we had to write an essay on what our culture was. And I remember thinking like, what is my culture? Because I hadn't experienced anything different from my own, so I thought, well, why not go out there and figure out what else is out there? And then the Yes Abroad program was a perfect program for that because it is a cultural exchange program. Like you do learn the language. Some people go on a program and they don't become fluent in their host language, but um, if you are, they provide you with language lessons and you're surrounded by it all the time. So if you put in the work, you probably will leave after the 10 months fluent or close to fluent in a foreign language. So yes, I found that
Yeah,
or I
definitely.
found the YESA program most beneficial for what I wanted.
And definitely, it's so unique the countries that it sends students to. Like, it's such a broad range too, from Malaysia to Turkey to Morocco to Bosnia. Like, that's so interesting that it really sends kids to a part of the world that I feel like exchange programs are not typically sending students to. And that's really cool that we're able to see that. And it's
Yes.
like such a rich culture here that, you would miss out on it either way.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So, if we want to like talk real quick about Bosnian culture, it is fantastic. I 10 out of 10 recommend coming here. But yeah.
I cannot disagree with you on that one. Yes, it is. I love Bosnia. Yeah. Oh,
So, we got a question. After leaving the US, how much time did you guys get before school started there?
oh gosh.
Francesca, want to go for it?
Okay, so we got here like September 10th, and in Bosnia, I believe all the schools start September 1st. And we even had like a few days like an orientation here, so we came in like 2 weeks late actually to school. But it all worked out. Like everyone was really welcoming, and the teachers were helpful to like get us on track and everything. So it didn't affect anything, in my opinion.
Yeah, and this year definitely wasn't a normal year because in the past they usually send you 2 weeks before. They usually send you mid-August. We got here late, a little late September, kind of mid-September. So in the past they usually send kids 2 weeks before, and then they do a 2 weeks language, like like intensive study, and then they go to school. So this year we kind of just came into school 2 weeks late, but it really wasn't a big deal because here the school system is still kind of trying to figure out like what classes they're going to provide with kids and stuff by the time that rolls around. So it really wasn't a big deal coming in late.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Any
so
other
the
questions?
program. Oh yeah. Any other questions? That was a good one. Oh, you're waiting for an English exam. Are you from a foreign country coming, wanting to come on the Yes Inbound program? Because something that I found out over here was that yes, inbound, they have to have an English exam test, whereas for American students applying, you do not have to be fluent or even have any knowledge in the language that your host country is going to provide. And honestly, when you apply, you don't know which country you're going to. So,
Right. Yeah, another cool thing is if you were in the US, I think you would really struggle to find language instruction in a lot of the languages spoken in our country. Like in Massachusetts, I don't think I could find Bosnian lessons anywhere, or even Arabic is really hard to find, even though it's such a widely spoken language. So that's a cool thing of the program.
oh, cool, you're from Turkey. Nice, nice to meet you. I hope your test goes well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, if you
yeah.
need any help, you're fantastic in English. Fluent.
Yes, for sure. Um, so back to applying. We when applying for the program, you don't know what country you're going to, and I guess that might be kind of scary for some people, but hopefully when you're going into the program, you think like it's not about what country you're placed in. It's about the experience that you're going to have there because honestly, it's different and entirely different, unique in every country and even in every city. Like my exchange experience is very different from Francesca's. We're in the same country, but we're in different cities. And even
And it's
my
not a big
exchange
country either. Yeah.
yeah, it's yeah, it's
Right.
not. And my even my exchange experience is different from other girls staying in Banja So, um, I mean, something that is widely spoken about, something is widely taught in PDO, pre-departure orientation, is it's your yes abroad, and it's not better, not worse, just different. Which I think is something good to live
No,
by, but
it's very true. Like it's funny that the things that we were told before we left definitely hold true being here like that.
for sure, for sure. Do you want to talk about your life a little? Where you're saying, Francesca? I know that you just kind of had some floods recently.
Yeah, yeah. There was a lot of rain recently, but I think everything should be okay now.
Oh yeah.
Thankfully, there was nothing too bad like that. So yeah, we're recovering now, and the power is back for the city. But a few days ago, there was a little bit of uncertainty on what would happen. But just like day-to-day life here. So yes, abroad places students with host families. So right now, I'm living with my host family here, and I have host parents and then two older host siblings. And so in my host family, the parents speak only Bosnian, and then my sister speaks English, which is just like such a fun dynamic because I'm able to improve on my Bosnian when I'm speaking with my parents, but still have like a translator just to avoid any like serious miscommunications. And then I go to school 5 days a week, and I can hang out with my friends there, and it's nice being able to have instruction in English, which I know you don't have, but that's like, definitely pros and cons both ways. Like here, I'm able to, I don't know, maybe gain more like actual like, information than I would have otherwise. I wonder like how much goes over your head in school? How much do you understand?
Almost everything. But it's really fun because I do not some like I every day I learn more. It's really crazy how much I like didn't understand the first day, and I'm 2 months almost into school, a month and a half, and I understand more and more every day. It's just basic math. It's like its own separate language, so I understand that really well. You
Yeah.
just kind of have to learn the vocabulary, plus, minus, whatever. But otherwise, it's it's a learning experience for sure. We have a question in the chat. How different is the language from English? Is it difficult to learn? So the language we learn here, we're staying in Bosnia and Herzegovina. It is technically called BCS, Bosnian, Croatian, Serbian, because there are three nationalities or ethnicities staying in this country. So the languages are pretty similar. Well, they are. But anyway,
It's
how hard is
controversial.
it? Yeah. How hard is it from English? Very difficult, I feel like. How do you
Yeah.
feel with the language?
I mean, at least with what I'm learning here, it's pretty much the same alphabet. So that's better than like Chinese or Arabic to be able to understand faster. But definitely grammar is tricky, and there are so many things that are just like people are born with when they speak Bosnian, and I am not born with that coming in after only speaking English for 17 years. So that's kind of a struggle to catch on to all these little intricacies.
Yes, that is true. They do have this thing in their language. They call it padaji, which stands for cases. So that means that depending on if the verb is a direct object, indirect object, or if it's going somewhere, what it's doing, it changes. So my name would change, and like objects like a jagoda, like a strawberry, it changes. Um, but honestly, something I love about Bosnian, Croatian, Serbian. So technically, here I speak Serbian. That's what I call it because most people that live in Banja Luka identify as ethnic Serbs. So I call it Serbian. And there's something I love about this language is everything is said how it is spelt. It is perfect. So if ever you need to like know a word, they just say it, and then you write it in your phone, and it's exactly how they said it. So I
Right.
find that I find that a lot more easy to comprehend. But like any language, it's just a learning curve, and you can, I mean, with enough practice, you'll get over it, especially when you're like so involved in the language and so involved in the culture here. You'll pick it up. It's surprising how fast you'll pick it up.
Definitely. And you'll be able to speak and like communicate what you're trying to say, even if your grammar is not 100% perfect. Like people are really understanding here, so
Oh,
it's
they're
good.
totally, yeah. And not to mention, the program provides you with language lessons. So if there's like, they'll teach you the basics there at language lessons, and then you'll just keep developing with your host family at school. I mean, there's, you won't leave this program without at least knowing a little.
Right.
We have another question in the chat. So I'm applying from Pakistan, and I only have the option to go to the USA. So you're talking about yes inbound, which yes, you only do have the option to go to USA, but different places in the USA. Whereas with yes abroad, it is for students from America going abroad to other countries. So they're two different programs.
Right. So I think it's I mean, since it's funded by the US State Department, it goes from the US out and then out to the US just to like build the relationships between the US and other countries altogether.
Okay, another. Okay, awesome. Applying from Jordan. So excited for you. And then what classes are we taking? Do you want to talk about yours?
Okay, sure. So I am like it's an IB program that I'm doing, so International Baccalaureate, and I'm with students that are doing this program for 2 years, and then we'll get like a not a degree, but it's a diploma. That's the word, diploma. And so I'm taking the classes at that level. And so I think it's psychology, economics, biology, math, and then I also have like Bosnian and English classes in the school that are like technically optional, but it's kind of fun to just like the Bosnian class that I'm taking is with native speakers. And so that's interesting to like hear, my classmates talking Bosnian at this higher level. And then English is for non-native speakers, which is also fun to like learn English from that perspective. And you, what classes do you have at your Catholic school?
Yeah. So the school system here is European. I believe that they do this in most European countries or all European countries, but basically the classes you take are set classes required by the government. So you don't, it's not like American school systems or other school systems where students get to choose which classes. Most of the time they are decided from the government, like what courses each student needs to be in. So technically, I'm taking 17 different classes, but I only have about 6 or 7 during the day. So throughout the week, I take 17 different subjects, which include German, Latin, English, Hrvatski, which is Croatian. Because I go to a Catholic school, they teach it in Croatian, technically. And then I have biology, physics, PE, math, and then we have chemistry, psychology, sociology, and probably more that I'm missing. And then we get to choose an izborna, which is like an elective. So you can choose English and Croatian as your izborna, or physics and math. But I chose art and music, which was very interesting. So we work on art projects that are kind of native to Bosnian, Serbian, Croatian culture. And then we listen to music and we talk about how it makes us, how the music impacts like our emotions. And so that is a very interesting class that I like. Another,
That's really interesting.
if there's anything else you want to add, you can. I got another question, which was how old we are. So I'm 17, and I will be 18
Oh,
here in a couple months. You can come when you're 18, but after that, I think like you could take a gap year abroad for guest abroad program, but after that, I don't think you can. Francesca, how old are you?
I'm also 17, but yeah, I think there's a specific cutoff date. So,
Yep. And then what
and
stages
then
we went through? Um,
like the application.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's what is meant by that. You want to talk about it, Francesca?
Oh, okay, sure. So the first stage is just to submit the application. So you write a few essays about just challenges. They're very basic, just to like get a sense of your character and who you are. and there's some documents you need to like submit with like a transcript and a teacher recommendation and a parent recommendation. But then after that, and everyone goes on to the next stage. No one is cut there, I believe, for Yes Abroad. And then you have an interview with, it's usually like an alumni or some coordinator in your area. It's very like low key, just to again like get a feel for who you are as a person. And then you see if you're placed and where you're placed. And if you're going, yeah.
Interview or exam? We had an interview. We just had the application process, and then a couple months later, or maybe a month later, we set up a Zoom meeting with someone from our state that interviewed us. Do we have a choice to go to another country than the USA? Not with the Yes Inbound program. I'm not sure. Is the gap year a waste of time? No, it is not. I do not think so. um, do you want to talk? Because I know someone on program here is on a gap year. However, I am technically on my gap year as well, and it's definitely not a waste of time. I think that you learn so much from about yourself living in a foreign country and learning about foreign culture than you could in college. I think it's a really good kind of boost of independence right at the beginning, and it's definitely not a waste of time. Not to mention that you come out of the program almost speaking another language. You're so familiar with another culture. You've identified a lot about yourself and your goals and your values, and there's so much you learn on program that really can't ever be taught or learned in a school other than going and experiencing it yourself. How do you feel, Francesca?
Well, I'm just thinking like these past 2 months that we've been here, it's only been 2 months, but I still feel like I've grown so much as a person. And so like what better way to spend a gap year and get ready for college than to like go through such like a life-changing experience, you know?
Yes. Oh my gosh, I can't agree with that more. It is definitely a life-changing experience, and I know everyone probably says that from being a foreign exchange student, but I can't explain to you. It's real. It's crazy. How long did it take to find out if you got accepted after the interview? How long did that take, Francesca?
I think it varies, but I know that during a normal year, I found out in March of that year. So, and then my interview was maybe, I have no idea. But you'll probably find out in March, going
Yeah,
by a normal.
March is normally when they interview you. However, COVID was a little delayed, so um,
March is when I heard back when I got the acceptance.
I got my interview in December, and then it was late April that I found out because I wasn't originally a finalist. I was an alternate. So they got. I mean, luckily I'm here and everything, but I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
originally an alternate, and it
No,
took
no
about.
shame in being an alternate. As long as it works out, you know?
I'm
Hey,
sorry.
you're here in the end, right? There's no shame in being
Oh,
an alternate.
for sure, no shame at all. um, but yeah, so it probably took about 4 to 5 months, maybe. No, four, three, something like that after the interview. So yeah,
Yeah, and I think that the timeline is, constantly changing.
it is definitely, especially this year with COVID and last year with COVID. What's the age cap? You have to be either eight. You
I think
can't.
it's 18 and a half when you
Yeah,
leave, something
18
like
and a
that.
half when you leave. So it has to be your gap year. It has to be the year. The age cap is your gap year. If you're
But it
if
doesn't
you're
have to be the
eligible, yeah, if you're more than 2 years older than like if you graduated high school 2 years ago, you can't.
right?
So that's
But I think if you are doing Yes program, like depending on who you are, there's a different age cap there. So it should all be on the different website, depending on which program it is.
for sure. And honestly, just check out the website. It's on there. I think it provides an actual day and like date and a year that if you're later than that, you can apply. So just check out the website and on the application process, it will tell you.
They make it pretty clear, I think, if you look there.
For sure, for sure. And then something to know about the program is if you are accepted as a finalist and you spend a year abroad in uh, the Yes Abroad program, then you cannot do another State Department funded program, but you can do a like summer program like NISLE, or not summer, like semester program like NISLE or whatever, but which is just so interesting. I'd love to go in a yes. Well, yes, please apply.
Do it. Yeah, yeah.
It's totally worth your time.
And so we covered my day-to-day life, but what about you? What do you enjoy doing on a daily basis?
Oh my goodness. So Banja Luka is kind of split up into a couple different boroughs of cities. Um, there's the city close to center, which is Borek, and then you have center, you have Lausch, you have a whole bunch of other outlining cities. However, I live kind of in a farther suburb named Chesma, which a Chesma, actually, interesting fact, is like a water spigot. So that's
Oh,
kind of what my town is named after, because for a while, like maybe 6 years ago, most of the houses up here, it's on a hill. I live up a hill. So I get this beautiful view of Banja Luka every morning when I wake up. It's so fantastic. But they didn't have like running water in the houses. So about 6 years ago, my house got that. But anyway, so everybody had to use the chesma, the water spigot, to carry their water up to their house. But
wow.
yeah, just don't definitely not all of Bosnia and Herzegovina is like that, but just my little area, so something interesting about that. But anyway, so my daily life consists of, I don't know how in depth I'll get, but I take the bus to school every morning. So the bus is at 6:30, and it's about a 10-minute walk down the hill, so it's really not that bad. And then I ride the bus to school. I go to school. We're usually done around 12:40, unless I have an isborna, my art and music class, which is until 1:30. And then after, I normally go get coffee with friends, because the coffee culture here is super strong and I love it. And then um, so I go get coffee with friends, and then I take the bus home, normally with my host sister, my host mom, and then we make lunch together around 3, 4. Lunch here is super fantastic. I love that we always have something to eat. So my favorite thing to eat here for lunch is krompirusha, which is like a potato pie. Fantastic. And then usually I go back into town around 6. I have my Serbian language lessons on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but then otherwise, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I have rukomet practice, which is handball. So
Ooh.
the program does allow you to do extracurricular activities. I know other people here that are, some are doing on the swim team, some joined a gym, some are knitting with old ladies. They call it duga. They're knitting hats for children in the hospital, and just really interesting things like that. You can teach art classes to kids, or teach English for kids. So there's really a multitude of opportunities that you could do here. So that's what my kind of daily life looks like: is school and coffee and sports and everything, and making lunch, and it's fantastic.
And
Um,
then that ties into the question on if we're allowed to do sports. And we definitely are encouraged to activities a little bit with like exactly what you're doing. Um, but yeah, I think that you actually even have a certain amount of money allotted for activities outside to just like get a better idea of the culture and all of that.
Yes, I totally agree. Joining this handball team has been so beneficial uh, for my language skills. Like um, it. I've learned so much from them, just from daily talking and listening to them. And then I don't know if you already answered this one, because I kind of lost connection there for a second. But how long did it take to get the answer if you were a semifinalist? I was
Oh,
a
I didn't think
semifinalist.
so.
Oh, okay. I was a semifinalist, and
Yeah,
I heard back mid-April, so, or semifinalist. Yeah,
uh,
no.
I think for Yes Abroad actually there is no like semi-finalist stage. It's like everyone goes until the end when you hear back if you're an alternate or a finalist or
Yeah, yeah.
or
Everyone kind of hears back. yeah, everyone kind of just hears back in April whether they're a finalist or a semifinal or like an alternate, or if they uh, weren't able to go on program.
Right. So yeah, it's like March to April, depending.
Yep, depending on what it is. And then another question was, are you allowed to do sports? Yes, we are allowed to do sports. They just have to be approved by your program coordinator and your or implementing organization. So, which it shouldn't be a problem unless your sport is like extreme snowboarding or something that's
Right.
probably pretty dangerous.
And how is your handball coming along?
I
Like,
have
how do you
ne-
even play handball? I have no idea what that.
That's a great question. I have never heard of this sport. I mean, I kind of saw a glance of it in the Olympics, but it's definitely not a widely played sport in America, I think. So coming here, I thought I want to try something new. I don't obviously play yet. They're just showing me basic things, but I get
Oh,
to watch the games and I get to like sit in on their practices, and then hopefully by the end of the year I'll be able to join them in the games and stuff like that.
that's very exciting.
Thanks. Um, do we have any opportunities to do band orchestra as an elective in school? Yes. Yes, you can. I have been offered, but I refused. Um, yes, you can always, and also you can do extracurricular like band orchestra instruments outside of school as well. One of the kids in Banja Luka, one of the girls here, is taking piano lessons outside of school, and they have. I know that there's like band kind of workshops deals where you can go and you play in a soundproof room with friends, and then you can have performances like for the holidays. That is a pretty common thing here. What about you, Francesca?
Um, yeah, I definitely have heard of a lot of like different extracurricular activities, but I would say that it's not as popular as in the US. Like with sports, it's there's nothing like directly organized through the school. You kind of have to seek it out on your own. And same thing with band and orchestra is like my school doesn't have any like direct options for that I've heard of. So you like that's part of being a yes abroad student is the initiative that you take to like find these opportunities to do things, but it'll be a little harder too than where you might be from.
Yes, I could not agree more. That is, you. Yes, I could not agree more. Good. Um, is there any more questions?
Okay, I have a question for you.
If not, we can go into
Wait, I have a question for you back. What
okay.
has surprised you the most here
Surprised me the
coming to
most
Boston?
here.
Yes.
Well, I think my biggest surprise was how kind of close people are. I don't know if that makes sense, but like I definitely wasn't used to after school going and getting coffee with friends or something like that, something of that nature. It was very I go home, I do my sports, and then or I study, and then I go to sleep, go to school the next day. Whereas with here, it is a very large coffee culture, and they actually want to sit down, and they actually want to talk to you, and they always want to include you in things. But also, like if I just meet someone and they're like, "Oh, you're nice, let's go to coffee," like cool. But also, if you see someone like on the side of the road or like you're walking two different ways, you don't it normally say like "Dobry dan" or like "Hi," that's just that's something definitely I do as an American. I always am like hi, all bubbly and everything. But people here kind of tend to mind their own business, which is not a bad thing. I mean, not bad, not worse, just different. But I definitely like the coffee culture a lot. What about you,
Definitely.
Francesca?
Well, I definitely agree that like there's such a social atmosphere here, both with friends and with family. Like I spend time with my family back home, but I definitely feel like it's like the entire extended family is so tight knit here in my host family, which is really it's so nice to see. It's very cute. And even like people on the side of the road, I see like neighbors bumping into each other so often and just like saying hello. Or people will like approach me on the street just to like say something friendly or say something nice. Like today, was with another Yes Abroad student, and some man came up to us and he said, "Together, very beautiful."
Hello.
Hi guys,
Hello.
this is
Hello.
I don't know if you can hear, but this is my mama Vera. Do you want to say hi?
Hi. I'm
Anyway.
glad to meet you.
Hello.
They all say hi.
Okay.
Anyway, so obviously they're very lovely people, and
Yeah, yeah, no,
I
it's fun. It's cute.
yes. So where are we? We went over this in the beginning, but I am Clara. I am 17. I am on the Yes Abroad program in Banja Luka, Bosnia and Herzegovina. And Francesca.
I am on the same program, but I'm in Sarajevo in Bosnia.
Yep. Otherwise, Tata Siniša, da vas upoznam?
Hello.
Može se pričati na srpskom?
Ko? Ja?
Da,
Pa pričamo.
da, pa pričamo.
A da nas dvoje pričamo na srpskom.
Ojo, ne znam.
Hello.
Oh,
They all say
I
hi.
am Daddy from Clara.
Okay.
My name is Sinisha.
Mm-hmm.
I in school speak Russian
Oh.
and now learn English.
Super, tata. Super.
That is everything for this day.
Okay. You did.
Many lection.
Okay. Super. Svaka čast, tata.
that was adorable.
Okay. Okay. Another question in the chat. Where are we from? I'm originally from Washington State.
And I'm from Massachusetts. America.
Soup.
Uh,
Okay. Are there any more questions? If not, we can maybe some frequently problems when applying is like where your school's supportive of your decision to like your credit transfer wise, or like your parent were your parents supportive of your uh, program application, and if not, like what did we do, or if we did, like how did we do that? Anyway, do you have any kind of advice for that, Francesca?
I think my school is pretty flexible about it. They just said, like, we'll see what happens. And then now they've worked with me, which is nice because I go to a pretty small school. So I think they're able to do that and to, like, work with person to person. But I think it definitely varies. My family, like, obviously it's difficult for any family to just send their kid off to, like, some country for a year. That's always difficult. But yeah, you just have to work with them. I know my dad was really unsure about whether or not I should go, but it's such a great opportunity, and like it was hard for him to say no because of that, because he knows how much we would learn over here and how great it'd be. What about you though?
Mhm. Yeah. On that note, also, my school was kind of, I wouldn't say it was a huge school, but it definitely hadn't ever had, uh, it wasn't experienced with, people being exchange students, so, either I had to finish my school early, or I would have to come back and finish credits, because my school specifically didn't want to, count the credits I would learn here. So I ended up just going to my community college, doing this program called Running Start, and getting all my high school credits while taking college credits. So anyway, I was able to graduate a year early. So I'm technically a 2022 graduate, but I graduated in 2021, so that I was able to come over here and not have to worry about credits or anything. And then if anyone's ever worried about the SAT, I'm sorry, there are resources available to be able to take it abroad. So I know I can come to Sarajevo or a bordering city and take it if I wanted to in December. But um, yeah. Otherwise,
And one thing that I
oh,
had worried about before I was coming is college applications and whether or not I would be able to do that here and like have the time. And well, definitely with like the interviews for colleges, that's pretty easy because that's all online and anyway because of COVID. But with applications, like I wouldn't worry about it. I think that there's enough free time here and like enough resources and people that like not a problem at all. So very manageable.
For sure, for sure. I haven't
Yeah.
run across a place that doesn't even have good Wi-Fi connection, so
Right. Oh
th-
yeah.
there's nothing, and it's kind of basically the same as if you were in the United States applying for colleges. I mean, you just have to carve out the time and do the
Yeah.
research. Otherwise, I haven't since found a problem for college applications while applying for them abroad.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that's something that kind of surprised me about being here is that like life is not that different day to day. Like, of course, you're like, it's a new culture and you have new experiences, but like the basic things just are the same, where, you eat, you sleep, you go to school, and that's nice that it's not a huge change in that regard. Everyone has a similar life no matter where you
Yeah.
go.
Yep.
Anything else? Any other questions?
Uh, if uh, if we don't have any other questions, I think we could probably. Oh wait, was it hard making friends? Were people welcoming? Of course, yes, hands down. I walked into class the first day, and they were all very interested to talk to me. Um, we we talked for for the first class. It was just homeroom, so my teacher allowed them to ask me questions, get to know me, and I found a good quality set of friends that we go to coffee every day now after school. And American Corner is also like a kind of program that's in Banja Luka and I believe Sarajevo as well. That
Oh yeah, yeah.
they set us up with some kids that speak English, and yeah, and so we also hang out with them. It's definitely not difficult to make friends. What
Yeah,
about you,
people are very
Francesca?
welcoming, and I think like friend groups are kind of malleable here. I feel like in the U.S., people it was like harder to get into a friend group, but here, like everyone is just like, hey, I've never spoken to you before, but do you want to grab coffee? Do you want to like see the city? And that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like cliques were definitely a kind of a big thing in the U.S. and I find here in my classroom, like these kids have been going to the same school with the same people in the same class for probably 3 years by now, and they all like each other, even though they all have entirely different interests and uh, like attitudes and everything. It's really interesting. Where were you hosted? Oh, I don't know if we can see Francesca anymore. Um,
You can.
are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, I can hear you, so that's good. But anyway, so where were you hosted? I am hosted in a family that lives in Chesma, which is a suburb in Banja Luka. And this family has hosted before, so they are familiar with the program, but I know that there are some kids that their parents, this is their first time hosting. English speaking wise, I'm fortunate to have a family that they do speak English very well. However, there are a couple kids that don't, and that's totally fine. I mean, it's really helpful for the language speaking process. I am by myself now. I don't know what happened with Francesca, but um, let's see if I can add her again. Let's see if she can add again. But I was very fortunate to have a host family that does speak English. Hi, you're back!
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, I was just talking about, like, the question was where we're hosted, so I just explained my situation in Banja Luka with my family that does speak English very well, but they also like to speak Serbian with me, so I learn a lot from them. What about you? What's your host situation like?
So yeah, I'm with host parents and then a older host sister and host brother. And so sorry, I heard you speaking in Bosnia with your host parents earlier. So how are they? Like, are they fluent in English or what are their levels there?
My Tata Sanisha is learning, but he definitely tries. But he studied Russian in school, whereas with Mama Vera, she studied English. So and their American culture is very kind of displayed. abroad, definitely because on English TV shows. And so what I found from here is that a lot of people understand English. They might not speak it, but so my host sister speaks it because she learned it in school, and then my host mom speaks it very well. My host dad is learning, but they love speaking with me, and I love trying to speak, so it works out really
Definitely.
well. Yeah, especially with trying to communicate with Tata Sinisha because that is his main language to go to. So yeah.
Great, maybe you can learn some Russian as well
Oh,
while you're at it.
maybe. Yeah, why not?
But no, it's definitely fun to be like pushed to speak it and to learn it and to like expand your vocabulary because you have to. That's a lot of fun.
For sure, for sure. And I find it so much easier to pick up basic phrases when I hear them speaking it and when they speak it with me. And that's just a conversation you're going to have with your parents. Like, just like, hey, if you ever have the chance to speak with me in your language, then would you mind? Like,
Right.
communication is definitely key here. Or honestly, anywhere.
That makes sense. What's your favorite Bosnian word that you've learned so far?
I'm sorry?
Favorite Bosnian word?
Oh, there are so many fun ones.
Yeah.
I remember the first word I ever learned was golub, which is a pigeon, which I think it rolls off the tongue very well. It's very nice. What about you? What's yours?
I think kikiriki butter, which is peanut butter. It's
That's
just so fun to say. Like,
it. You're so right. You're so right. Um, language-wise, the language isn't any. I mean, it's difficult as any language is to learn, but I really like this language very much. Um, golub, like Kikiriki. Yes, those are all really good ones. I can't even. Okay. Otherwise, do we have any more questions from the chat we could answer about our lives or about the application process, about like what we've learned about ourselves so far? I mean, we've only been here 2 months, but I feel like there's so much that I've kind of discovered about myself and what I want my goals to be like in the future. And yeah. If not, is there anything you'd like to add, Francesca?
nothing I can think of. No. What do you think?
Well, otherwise, if there isn't any more questions, we might just close this up. Um, I want to thank you guys for joining the live. I hope some of you guys learned some valuable information. Please apply for the program. It's life-changing. It's fantastic. Anything you want to add?
No, definitely just would encourage anyone to do it. Like, it's a great opportunity. You'll definitely learn a lot.
Yes, you'll come out with so many skills: language skills, communication skills, independence skills, cooking skills. Um, so yeah, I hope all of you have a great rest of your day. It's nighttime for us, so
Yeah, good night.
laku noc, good night,
Yeah.
good morning to everyone. But yeah, thank you so much. And if I get accepted, can I get a second year? No, you can only do a year abroad program once. You can do a semester program, but not a year abroad program with the Department of State funded programs.
Exactly.
There's I'll maybe wait a couple more minutes for any other questions, but um, if not, thank you all for coming. I hope have a good day, and yeah, bye. Vidimo se is see you later.
Vidimo se.
Vidimo se.